This is a new episode to my series, The Ones Who Got Away. In this series, we detail murder suspects, mysterious disappearance, and people who all around may have committed crimes or been involved in one, never to be seen or heard from again. Today, we travel to Houston, Texas, where in 1965, the Icebox murders put Houston on the map. In June of 1965, Houston police were dispatched to the home of Fred and Edwina Rogers. Reason? Edwina's nephew had not been able to get a hold of her for days, and Fred's family was growing concerned. The neighbors also were concerned, considering the fact that the Rogers were a very lively couple, although they lived with their reclusive and sometimes awkward son. After not getting any answers to the knocks at the door, police eventually broke in, and what they found was horrifying. Before they could even make it upstairs, two human heads were in the vegetable bin in the freezer. And in the freezer, they also found more body parts, along with hands, intestines, just all around gruesome horror movie stuff. As police began to trek through the house, they did so with diligence and caution, for they did not know who the two people were in the freezer, let alone where was Charles, the couple's son. According to how the theory goes, Fred and Edwina Rogers were abusive parents and abusive people. According to some, they were even described as con artists, Fred himself being involved in gambling and other fraud-like materials. Fred would abuse his son Charles from childhood into adulthood, and eventually Charles grew reclusive and socially awkward. He only communicated with his parents by slipping notes under his door, and when his food was done, they would leave the food outside his room. Police theorized on June 20th, Father's Day of 1965, Charles grew fed up and attacked his parents, murdering them, dismembering their bodies, putting them in a freezer, and disappearing. While a manhunt ensued for Charles and arrest warrants were issued for his arrest, Charles Rogers was never seen after the date of June 23, 1965. Many theories abound as to what could have happened to the American seismologist and pilot. However, what is known is that he grew fed up with his father and his abusive tendencies and took matters into his own hands, and maybe his mother was just collateral damage. We will never know. However, what is known is that the home where all this took place was eventually condemned and then eventually demolished in 1975. It remained a vacant lot until 2000, where condominiums were built in its place. According to unofficial reports, Charles Rogers may have also been killed in Honduras.